Recently, we have been talking about crypto regulations because, again, if we're thinking about regulations for the entire crypto market, specifically utility-based crypto projects, utility projects rely on regulations. I've said this a million times over in the past, and I feel like a lot of people don't listen because they think like, oh, well, why is this time so different than the past cycles? Why isn't XRP skyrocketing in value? Why aren't these, projects reaching these crazy prices if, they have so much utility and they're so disruptive? And, why aren't they doing crazy moves like they did back in 2020 to 2021? And, there's a few things to go over. Number one, we really haven't even seen alt season start yet for crypto this cycle. But also number two, a lot of these utility-based projects rely on regulations to hit their real values. I say it all the time. The value of XRP, the value of these utility projects in front of us right now, it's all fake. I know. Sounds crazy, right? It's all fake? Well, then why are we even listening? Why are we even talking about these projects? What I mean by the prices of these altcoins and these projects being fake, it's the fact that they're all tied back to Bitcoin. Whatever happens to Bitcoin, we see the altcoin market move. And even recently, you might say, well, back in November, XRP started to go crazy. And, Bitcoin sure was pumping, but, XRP was outperforming it. And yes, it was. And XRP will continue to outperform Bitcoin because diminished returns is a real thing. But the main thing that we're looking at here is the high-priced XRP, the high-value targets, 20, 30, 40, 50, even $100 per XRP. We won't get there at all until we have regulations in place. That's where we can actually start building towards that. But this is why we focus on regulations. That's why when we see articles like this, the US must pass regulations or risk losing crypto race, Wyoming Symposium. The panelists agreed that it is not too late for the US to catch up to other jurisdictions, but urged swift crypto regulatory legislation. And yes, we need regulations. We need to make sure that we have crypto clarity for this space. By the way, Stuart Alderati was one of the speakers at this event as well. But, we do need clarity for the entire crypto space. We need that Clarity Act passed through, and this will accelerate everything. This will start to really build us towards these utility-based projects reaching their real, true value. And the day that we finally separate from Bitcoin is also going to be the day where a new king will be crowned. And what I mean by that is that number one spot will soon be taken over. And it's going to be by utility. Because again, we know almost every single one of these utility-based altcoins have far more potential than Bitcoin. That's not me being a Bitcoin hater. That's me speaking technological facts. Because again, go and look at how scalable Bitcoin is compared to XRP. I'll wait. Again, you're going to come back and you're going to say, well, XRP is way more efficient. Because it's just facts. Now, with that, let's go over here real quick. So, now is the best time to lock in with iTrust Capital, where you could tap into their Roth IRA crypto-designed platform or even their premium custody account that allows you to hold crypto safely and soundly. You never have to worry about if your crypto is going to disappear overnight because this is a closed-loop system. Assets are held one-to-one off balance sheet, US-based live client service, institutional custody, tax reporting, and 24/7, 365 buying and selling. I personally love the Roth IRA side of their platform. It's incredible, especially for tax-advantaged trading as well as holding crypto. If you guys do want to tap into this, you guys are more than welcome to utilizing my link down in the description below and my promo code as well, where you deposit $1,000 and they give you an additional $100 funding bonus. What are you guys waiting for? Sign up today. You won't regret it. With clarity with regulations, we have been seeing some pretty big moves. For example, we have a crypto task force from the SEC. The same SEC that went after Ripple and XRP back in 2020. We now have a crypto task force that's seeking to provide clarity on the application of the federal securities laws to the crypto asset market and to recommend practical policy measures that aim to foster innovation and protect investors. If you thought that was crazy, we also have Project Crypto from the SEC. And this is fully focused on tokenization, stablecoins, integrating stablecoins within the US system, introducing tokenization to the US system as well. Like, these are the big moves happening right now. And then also, just in, the SEC's crypto task force, led by Commissioner Hester Pierce, is launching a nationwide tour to meet with small crypto projects and gather input on future regulation. This is extremely bullish for crypto. It's extremely bullish for the US market as well. And we are 100% looking at utility-based projects here. Now, on top of this, let's go over here to what the National Cryptocurrency Association posted recently regarding the Clarity Act. When it comes to US crypto policy, Americans want lawmakers to take action on rules that protect consumers and address potential risk. 73% want stronger consumer protections for people investing in, holding, or using crypto. 71% want comprehensive crypto legislation that addresses gaps in current law. 69% want to strengthen American leadership in digital financial technology. The takeaway: Americans are asking for clarity and additional protections. And yes, listen, this is something that we've been asking for years at this point. And it really started with the introduction of the lawsuit against Ripple and XRP as well. That's where these things got completely blown out of proportion, to the point where almost everyone was asking, what the hell kind of rules do we have? We have no rules to follow here. We need to have clarity for crypto. And it went on for 4 years. Today, well, we're finally starting to see some pretty big moves being made. Now, the Clarity Act itself, I'm very excited about, because I do think that this is going to bring trillions on top of trillions of dollars to the space. And we're already starting to see some pretty big developments happening in the US market for crypto regulations. For an example, here we have the US Treasury has officially requested public comments on the Genius Act, a Trump-era framework designed to strengthen oversight of digital assets. The key points: focus, detecting and preventing illicit activity in crypto. Public comment window now open until October 17th of this year. Context: part of broader efforts to implement legislation first drafted under the Trump administration. This will directly impact market structure, institutional participation, and liquidity in the months ahead. And yes, this is from the 18th of August. Treasury issues requests for comment related to the Guiding and Establishing National Innovation for U.S. Stablecoins Act. And yes, this is that Stablecoin Act. So again, when we think about what's happening here, they are all trying to accelerate the push on regulations within the US. The Treasury's on board, this entire admin's on board, the SEC's on board. Everyone is trying to advance this, even the CFTC. Now, let's go over here to this video clip that got posted by Coin Bureau. Trillions could flow into crypto. With the Clarity Act likely passing, Wall Street, banks, and Fortune 500 firms will finally have the green light to dive into digital assets. Could this be the biggest crypto bull run in history? Check this out.
Yeah, we do believe the bill will be passed within the next 60 days. And this is further clarification. The Genius Act gave us clarity on stablecoins. This new bill will give us clarity on much more within the general world of crypto. And again, provides the rules that the traditional finance industry, banks, insurance companies, credit card companies, as well as the Fortune 500 generally, need to know that they're able to engage in this marketplace. They know what they're allowed to do, how they're allowed to do it, how they have to disclose it and report it, and pay taxes on it. And this is going to unleash the burdens that have kept everybody out of the marketplace. The result of all this, Talia, you're going to see hundreds of millions, probably hundreds of billions of dollars, perhaps even trillions of dollars flowing into Bitcoin and other digital assets. And since all of these coins operate on a supply-demand issue, just like any other asset, we're anticipating this is going to be the beginning of a major source of inflows and price increases over the next several years.
And yeah, why wouldn't this cause these crypto altcoins and even Bitcoin technically to skyrocket in value? Listen, I do think that the diminished returns on Bitcoin have already been hitting pretty hard. I think that a lot of these altcoins will outperform Bitcoin for many, cycles to come. The main thing that I'm looking at is us entering a completely different market. A utility-driven market where the fake value of these altcoins are no longer a thing. In fact, what we will be ushering into is an age where the value of these altcoins is determined by the amount of utilization there is for these networks. I said this many times over in the past. This was back in August of 2024. We are now a year ago in time, and I said, once regulations hit this space, utility projects get the green light in a massive way. The digital rails are already in place. The problem is that they are not being utilized the way most perceive. Everyone in this space is always asking the same question when it comes to projects like HBAR and even XRP, for an example. That question is, with all these great announcements, why isn't the price moving? The simple answer, well, it's because a lot of these partnerships and a lot of these announcements require regulations before they really mean anything. You need to take a step back and analyze what this market is currently, which is a breeding ground of hype driven by speculation. What we really want this space to be is a breeding ground of value driven by utility, which will happen. I don't know who needs to tell you this, but XRP, HBAR, XLM, XDC, all of these utility projects are not even close to being utilized at scale, which is why the value of them today is not real. Regardless of what you hear, institutions are still trying to navigate the regulatory uncertainty of this market. Yes, we are seeing names like BlackRock dipping their toes in, but they're not tokenizing trillions yet. With proper regulatory clarity, the floodgates are officially open, the light turns green, and utility projects will race for the throne, #1 spot. A new king will be crowned, and it definitely won't be Bitcoin or Ethereum, and most fail to accept that. You are either sitting here and doing your homework on this space, or you will simply be left behind. And yeah, I've said this a million times over. Everyone thinks that Bitcoin and Ethereum will reign supreme for years and years and years and years, but that's just simply not the case here. When we start to see tokenization and payments and stablecoin initiatives really scaling at maximum velocity, it's not going to be on Bitcoin and Ethereum. It's going to be on these extremely scalable networks that we know of today, that are battle tested, that have been around for a while, and that the biggest players out there already have been tapping into. We are witnessing the acceleration of almost everything around this space, but it's not the way that most think. It's not based around speculation and hype. No, it's accelerating around utility, allowing this market to mature, allowing the big players to tap into legitimate real-world use cases, bringing asset classes on chain, tokenizing value, tokenizing fiat currencies for the FX market to live on chain as well. These are the types of use cases that are hitting this market currently, but they're not at scale. Not yet. Most of the tokenization moves still require regulatory certainty. We aren't there yet, but I do believe that we are getting there. And remember, Ripple did confirm this. They said it back in April, where they were talking about the shift happening with tokenization. The first thing that they said about how this shift happens is regulation and institutional adoption. That's the main thing. That's the main driver of almost anything in this space growing in a big way. You really want to see, 1 trillion, 5 trillion, 10 trillion plus on chain? Well, we don't get there without proper regulations. And this is exactly how XRP gets a real value tied to it. We start to see the, essentially up only game of this market really kicking in. That's what we're all focused on. That's what we're all paying attention to at this point. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video.